So today let's talk about neural networking. Um, so there was a book written called Machines Who Think. And through this, it's a history from gears to the first computers and the first program in artificial intelligence. Written by Neil, Shaw, and Simon, it was presented at the first conference of artificial intelligence. And it was a linked list. And a linked list is a basic structure in, say, for example, C++ programming. So when neural networks came along, way after the linked list, they were using an algebraic matrix. So in algebra, you can create, let's say, a 3 by 3 matrix and multiply it by another 3 by 3 matrix. And so in C++ programming or whatever language, they created these algebraic matrices and called it neural networking. And the way they deal out these matrices is with for loops. So you had 3 orders of nested for loops in a matrix would be called a neural net in C++. So when I was tasked, I was in a project to create a program for a robot. And we built the hardware, we drew up these hardware designs for an artificial intelligence robot. And the program was a series of notes and ideas. So later I worked in Silicon Valley and I controlled equipment with formulas. And I did steps. For example, step 1, step 2, and step 1 had a file, step 2 is a file. So it read each file and loaded in real time all the values for that file and performed a task. So then after that, I was writing up my notes for working that job, and I looked at neural networks, and instead of for loops, I thought, well, let me go back to the first project I was on in AI, gather my notes, and look at the second project. The second project in AI that I worked on was in Silicon Valley for a defense contractor. So then I was writing my notes on these 2 projects and the parts that did not fall under the non-disclosure agreement. And the way programmers get this is by for example, a database structure you can invent and you could use that again, but not the data. And so the data structure is the key. You could have gigantic storage facilities of data, but without the data structure, you can't access that data. So that data structure in a database is the key to the whole unlocking the data. So for the third generation neural network, I wanted a structure, and I wanted it to grow with each data input. So I went and I prototyped the neuron in C++. It's an object. So you can have, let's say there are spheres as an object. And in each of these spheres would be your database entry. It could be a person's health record, and it's a sphere. And so you place this sphere in a structure. So what I did is I prototyped a neuron, and I prototyped money, and I started hanging these in a structure for my neural net. And I wrote a book. I didn't put in the book the money tree. I put in the book the neural tree, neural network, on an expanding structure. So today, this project, what I want to do is use my neuron object in C++ and load it into a four-dimensional matrices from the classic neural net style. So it would have, it's going to be a classic neural net, but it won't be a matrix like an algebraic matrix. It'll be a neural net of neural objects that I have prototyped out. And so the reason for this is that materialism believes that we're only in the physical universe. But for some reason, the human mind transcends materialism. It's sort of like the opposite of nihilism. So nihilism and materialism in the world. So let's say I make a four-dimensional neural net of neurons. This is going to prove whether nihilism and materialism is the universe, or does a four-dimensional neural net of neural objects transcend the material world. And that's why I am writing this program.